What's going on, everyone? I'm just a typical, average American here today to react and learn about what it's like working in the UK. As an American, I have no idea what the working conditions are really like in the UK, or the work culture, you might call it. So today, I'm very interested in learning about some of the big changes that might be coming to the UK in regards to work. So, let's take a look.
Workers in the UK have had it tough. Not only have wages been stagnant for the best part of 2 decades, but on average, UK employees work the longest hours in Europe.
Really?
It should therefore come as little surprise that 88% of UK employees report experiencing burnout in the last 2 years.
Oh my gosh. This is not exactly the introduction I was expecting to hear. So, what have we already learned? That statistically, people in the UK, the wages haven't been increasing as much compared to other countries. And people in the UK are experiencing burnout due to a variety of factors.
Employees work the longest hours in Europe.
People in the UK work the longest hours in all of Europe. My goodness. People in the UK are working very hard. But I could see after a point, like, that, causes frustration, causes burnout, especially if your wage isn't increasing, like, in proportion to the amount of hours and work that you're doing.
Experiencing burnout in the last 2 years, and 1 in 3 don't feel like they have a good work-life balance.
Oh, wow.
But luckily for any exhausted or mistreated employees out there, Labour has a plan to remedy this, promising to make work pay and deliver a new deal for working people through their Employment Rights Bill within the first 100 days in office.
Okay. This is very interesting to me because this is very, like, up-to-date, very, like, I don't know, cutting edge. This is, like, very up-to-date information, like, right now, what the UK is doing to address some of these problems.
In fact, the government plans to introduce comprehensive reforms to workers' rights in order to modernise the workplace and improve workers' quality of life. So
Wait, hold on. They just had a giant list pop up. What's all this? Basic rights, no unfair dismissal, you get parental leave. I was pretty sure people in the UK get pretty good, like, maternity leave already, right? Isn't that a thing? Guaranteed sick pay? I didn't even know the UK had some of these problems. This is starting to sound like the United States, really. Like, here in the United States, I think as a country, we're kind of famous for our lack of employee worker benefits, really, because in America, the corporations have all the rights. Like, our government does very little in regards to exercising any kind of control or oversight over companies in the United States, which can be, like, good, capitalism and all that, free market. But yeah, the rights of the workers aren't protected as much. So I don't know. A lot of this is reminding me of the United States, actually. Banning 0-hour contracts, ending fire and rehire practices. What does that mean? Fairer contracts, predictable hours, right to a 4-day work week. Is this really a thing? Right to a 4-day work week? Is that really a thing that could happen in the UK? That would be something. 4-day work week. A lot of people in America dream about that, but it's never even come close to being a real thing.
In this video, we're going to take a look at this new deal, with particular focus on 2 of the most interesting proposals: the right to request a 4-day working week and the right to switch off.
The right to switch. What is the right to switch off? This is so interesting. This is aspects of work like I don't even think about here in America. This is really interesting. What is the right to switch off? To switch off your brain? Like at work? Sign me up. The right to a 4-day work week. That is big. That's big if that's true. Wow.
Ready to provide when we release new videos. So what's in this new deal for working people? Well, Labour has pledged to strengthen workers' rights by providing basic rights from day one of employment, such as protection against unfair dismissal, parental leave, and sick leave. They also aim to end insecure work by banning exploitative zero-hours contracts, ending the practice of fire and rehire, and introducing fairer employment contracts with predictable hours.
I didn't realize there were so many, like, I don't know, rights that weren't guaranteed in the UK. Again, this kind of reminds me of the United States. So people in the UK must be pretty stoked about this, right? Like this is a huge reform coming to workers' rights and protection in the UK. Like this is great news, right?
But as I mentioned a moment ago, perhaps the most interesting proposals floating around at the moment are the right to request a 4-day working week and the right to switch off.
Yeah.
While Labour hasn't formally committed to a 4-day working week, rumours have been circulating, and there are reports that Deputy Prime Minister Angela Rayner is trying to champion the idea. So
really?
How could this actually work?
This is just hearsay. This is just theory at this point. This is not concrete. The right to afford part of me was like wondering how legitimate of a chance does this have to actually happening? Like being able to request a 4-day work week? Would you just increase your hours for the other days? So you'd work like 10 hours 4 days a week instead of 8 hours 5 days a week? I think a lot of people would do that. Actually.
Come spring, could full-time employees have the right to request a 4-day working week?
Wow.
Well, reports suggest that the 4-day working week could be implemented primarily through a system of compressed hours, where employees work their full contracted hours over 4 days instead of 5.
Right.
Allowing them an extra day off without a reduction in pay.
I mean, that'd be pretty darn cool. I mean, that'd make a huge like a lot of people feel like 2 days off a week, like you're just living to make it to the weekend. And Sunday, you can't even enjoy it as much. You're already dreading work on Monday. But 3 days off, I actually really like that. Like, I think that'd be good for the human race if we could choose 4 days a week. I'm totally with the UK on this one.
According to reports, employers would only be able to refuse a request for compressed hours if they can prove it's, quote, not reasonably feasible. Although it's not immediately clear what this means. This approach would likely be more feasible for office-based and full-time workers, who could adjust their daily schedules to longer hours on fewer days.
Yes. Many jobs could definitely do this. I guess there's certain jobs where, like, if stuff happens on Friday, for example, if just important things happen on Friday that doesn't happen on other days of the week and you physically need to be working that day, like I could see, like that could count as, it's not feasible. There are things happening 5 days of the week that we need you here to do. Stuff's going on. But for many jobs, 4 days, yeah, that could work.
But maybe less applicable in industries like retail, hospitality, or healthcare, where consistent staffing is crucial.
Yeah.
But these proposed reforms aren't totally coming out of the blue. As of April 2024, full-time employees in the UK can make 2 flexible working requests per year, and they have the right to make such requests from the first day of employment. This proposal is a natural extension of Labour's broader commitment to expanding flexible working arrangements. By making flexible working the default for all employees, except only in instances where it's not reasonably feasible, Labour aims to empower workers to choose a schedule that suits their needs, whether that's compressed hours over 4 days or other flexible options. Without
This would be huge news in the United States. Like, this is huge. Is this big news in the UK? Again, they've said, like, this is still just, in talks. Like, it's an idea. It's not really even been proposed to be put into any kind of law or legislation, or even, like, it's not at that point in the process yet. It's really just an idea. But I would imagine so many people in the UK are like, yes. So many people in America would be like jumping up and down. Like, yes, this would be awesome.
Without the burden of having to formally request these changes, thereby enhancing work-life balance and potentially increasing productivity. Unsurprisingly, these reports have invited controversy, though, with the Conservatives claiming that a system of compressed hours undercuts Labour's promise to prioritise economic growth and would leave businesses petrified. Although it's worth noting that the Conservatives' 2019 election manifesto vowed to make flexible working the default, citing studies that it could increase productivity. In 2022, for instance, 4-Day Week Global organised one of the largest single-country pilot trials in the UK, involving 73 companies and 3,300 employees. Once the 6 months...
They actually did a experiment, for lack of a better word. They actually did a test where they had 3,000 different companies try a 4-day work week trial. Really? I wonder what happened. Did that go well?
Trial was concluded, 86% of companies claimed that it was likely or extremely likely that they would permanently implement the change.
Wow.
In fact, 46% of companies maintained the same level of business productivity during this trial, while 34% reported a slight improvement, and 15% claimed that productivity was significantly improved.
Oh my God. There's literally no good reason not to do this. And I will admit, I'm a bit jealous. Like, this is not even on the table of discussion in the United States. Not even a thought. And it should be. And the data even is starting to suggest that this is better than a 5-day work week. And not even to mention the benefits it brings to the people, the humans, that will get to enjoy their lives a little bit more, a little work-life balance. Although, working like 10 hours a day, 4 days a week, if you work 40 hours a week, now you're getting home 2 hours later every day. It's kind of a tough... I'm sure you'd get used to it, I suppose. And that entire day off, 3-day weekend, I still think most people might choose that.
Companies in Ireland and New Zealand have also seen similar successes, where the 4-day work week led to improved focus and efficiency during working hours.
Yeah.
And Microsoft Japan reported a 40% boost in productivity from doing just that.
Oh my gosh.
In aggregate, 9 out of 10 employees who wish to take part in global trials wish to continue with a 4-day work week, according to the World Economic Forum.
Wow.
Now, Labour ministers have previously insisted that a shift to a 4-day work week will not only boost productivity and employee retention, but also improve employees' well-being and family life by providing a better work-life balance and saving on transport and childcare costs.
Oh my gosh, there's so many reasons to do this. And there's just more stuff you can do when you have 3 days off. It's a big jump. It's only 1 day, but going from 2 days off to 3, that's very significant. Like, that makes a huge difference. Wow. Wow.
The government has since distanced itself from these reports, promising to consult business leaders before any changes are implemented as law. But it's worth mentioning that many of the studies we cited above imply that if it successfully balances productivity demands with the flexibility of a shorter work week, compressed hours could benefit both employees and employers. In addition to this compressed hours policy, Labour plans to tackle burnout by introducing a novel right to switch off from work.
Now, what does this mean? The right to switch off. What does that... It just sounds funny to me. Like you're flipping a switch in your brain. Like, I need to switch off. Like you're just at work and you're just like, I need a break. Like, I don't get it. What is this?
Mental Health UK's chief executive, Brian Dow, has warned that the UK is rapidly becoming a burnout nation, with a worrying number of people taking time off due to poor mental health caused by stress. According to its most recent burnout report, Mental Health UK found that burnout affects a fifth of UK employees, with 1 in 5 working adults needing time off over the past year. To remedy this, Labour is committed to giving employees the right to ignore work-related calls and emails out of hours, so that homes don't become 24-hour offices, and to help minimise the risk of an always-on culture blurring the line between work and home life.
I see. Yeah, that's a tricky one. Yeah, it is very important. Like, certainly I don't think anyone would argue you're going to be more healthy and less stressed if you forget about work when you're at home. Home is for home. Work is for work. But there's a lot of jobs where it's necessary to take emails or calls or, do certain tasks at home after work to optimize your work and to make work easier. In some instances, it's just practical to do little things outside of work. But you can't argue that it's not, optimal for your mental health. So I guess this would be like a right to switch off. You don't have to. If you're crazy and you enjoy working after work, then this won't affect you. But for most people, this right could be very important.
Ministers are examining post-COVID-19 models from countries like Ireland and Belgium, where the right to disconnect has already been established.
Oh, wow.
For instance, the Workplace Relations Commission in Ireland developed a code of practice that provides all employees, including those who work from home, the right to disconnect from work outside of normal working hours.
Wow. I didn't know this was such a big thing, and that some countries have already done this. In America, it's just like, if your employer says, yeah, I'll be contacting you outside of work for this and that, or can you answer an email after hours? Like, you basically just have to go along with it if you want to keep your job. So, yeah, I've never thought about this, but it's honestly probably good practice.
Has actually gone further, legally enshrining the right to disconnect, which applies to all private companies that employ at least 20 workers.
Wow.
As such, Belgian workers cannot be penalised for refusing to work outside of normal working hours.
Yeah.
And there's a legal duty to respect this right.
Wow.
While the exact form of Labour's right to switch off remains uncertain, reports suggest that it may be more likely to be implemented as sort of a code of practice, more akin to what Ireland has.
This is very interesting. Very interesting. Yeah. I think I'm going to stop right here. That's exactly what I was hoping to learn about. What kind of interesting new ideas the UK is thinking about implementing in regards to work and workers' rights, really. The main two here, fascinating to think about, is a 4-day work week and the right to switch off after work. Two things that we absolutely do not think about here in America, because I think we just accept it as a fact of life. Like, yeah, 5-day work week. Yeah, the boss is bugging me after work. Yeah, about an email. Like, it's kind of sad in a way that no one even talks about this. Like, no politician, no political party here, like, yeah. This was actually really interesting to hear about and probably good. More Americans should probably, hear about this stuff that the UK is doing. It could actually benefit us to learn about. So I quite enjoyed this. Anyway, if you enjoyed this as well, feel free to give this video a like or leave a comment with your thoughts on any of these interesting ideas regarding working in the UK. Especially if you live in the UK and this affects you, that'd be really interesting to hear about. And if you're interested in more videos like this, me reacting to the UK and learning about UK culture, feel free to subscribe for more. And until then, thanks for watching, and see you next time.